Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today we have a special guest, Megan, the co-founder of HuggaBuddy. It is a family-run brand that's all about creating core memories, fostering imagination, and bringing comfort through their beautiful design, storybooks, and plush toys. And HuggaBuddy isn't just about toys. It is also about strengthening the family connections and making bedtime and playtime more magical. Thank you so much, Megan, for being on our show today.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Can we start out by sharing with our audience the story behind like how it all began? I know this is a family business that you
Yeah.
have as your siblings and your parents.
Yeah, so I'm excited to tell this story because I've never really told it in this way before. My mom has 6 kids. She has 25 grandkids, and she started creating way back when I was a kid. There was a Christmas that we all still talk about. It's the Christmas that we remember the most, where my parents didn't have a lot of money. And so my mom made all of our presents. And there were 2 that stick out in my mind. She made me this wood doll that was a cutout, and the
Okay.
stomach was cut out and it had plastic on either side, and the head came off, and you could put gumballs inside.
Oh,
She made me this little like gumball thing, and then she
okay.
made me a stuffed rabbit, and in the hand was one of those buttons that you push, and it played Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And those things were so special. And then as her kids starting having grandkids, she just kept making things, and quilts became a really big thing for her. She's always been a sewer and a quilter, and she would make these quilts they were interactive. And they would be like a train set where a train could go through the tunnels, and it would have like a fabric tunnel, and it would have all these different things that a kid could play with the quilt and then use the quilt. And my daughter has one that has a bunch of pockets, and each pocket has like a Velcro pillow above it, and it was full of baby dolls. And she could put her baby dolls to bed every night when she goes to bed.
Oh, nice.
So she
Okay.
just started making these like magical things. And then quilts really became her thing. And so every kid has a special grandma quilt, like a snuggly quilt for their bed. And my husband and we have a blended family. We have 7 kids. When we got married, he was bringing 4 kids into the family.
Mm.
And for the Christmas before we got married, my mom made each of his kids a grandma quilt. And that was they loved it so much. It was kind of like a rite of passage. Like, oh, you've gotten the blanket. And my youngest stepson would call her Magic Grandma. She could just create such incredible things.
I think.
And my husband was just like, we need to do this on a bigger scale. Like, how do we do this for everyone? He saw the effect it had on his kids and the grandkids in our family that has all of these like really cool memories and traditions with grandma. And he's like, how do we do this? How do we make this? And she has been making these quillos. A lot of people know what a quillo is. It's a blanket that folds into a pillow. So she had
Oh, okay.
made a bunch of these. Like
Mhm.
my 14-year-old son still has his from when he was a baby.
Mhm.
And so it started with this blanket. And we're like, okay, we're going to make these blankets. And then all of the blankets she had done had an animal type theme. So she's, if we're going to do the blankets, I'm going to make the stuffed animals. And
Mm.
so we started, okay, we're going to have stuffed animals. And then from there, I was like, if you're doing stuffed animals, I'm doing books. So I wrote books. And at first, I
Yeah.
wrote silly bedtime stories.
Yeah.
And my brother, who works with us, as you said, it's a family-owned business. She was like,
Mhm.
oh, no, it needs to be more. But
Mm.
we went back and we were a little more intentional about it, and we added
Yeah.
values to all of our books. And
Mm.
then from there, one of our favorite taglines from the beginning is life's better with a buddy. So we're like, all our stuffed animal needs a buddy. So we
Yeah.
create the baby buddy. So then we have a big one, a smaller one. And it just became this whole line of very
Yeah.
intentional bedtime products. From there, we did a sleep
Mhm.
mask. That
Yeah. Yeah.
little strap. And then
Yeah.
we also included a journal because it was all
Mm.
these things that we found to be like really important at bedtime, all these little pieces
Yeah.
to the puzzle. And then the blanket was such a hit. but a lot of people were like, oh, we love that blanket, but it's twin size, it's heavy. So all of our blankets are 5 pounds and they're weighted just with the fabric in the filler. So they're washable because they're for children. So
Yeah.
they're all minky. That is one of my mom's biggest requirements is how soft is it? How soft?
Mm,
It has to be
yeah.
soft. So we have the twin size one and it folds up into a pillow, but more than that, it folds up into a backpack. We put straps on it and it has
Yeah.
pockets.
Nice. Yeah.
And then we created the baby version of that, which doesn't have a pocket. It's just your
Yeah.
normal, like snuggly baby blankie. And
Mm.
so that's how it really began was just wanting to bring these traditions and these memories and these really cool things to other people's families that my mom had created for our family.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's almost like a sleepover kit.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
you design pretty much. Like you mentioned, your mom's play a huge role in building up the brand. What is it like working together with your mom as a
Oh,
mother-daughter duo?
so funny. My mom, she is an introvert, so she's really quiet if you first get to know her, but just so much laughter. I just enjoy working with her so much. And really, Hugga Buddies wouldn't exist without her. On Friday, I did a career days at my kids' elementary school, and I went and
Mm.
talked about what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And the second thing I tell them that they need is a passion or
Yeah.
a reason being an entrepreneur and starting your own business is so hard. If you don't
Yes.
have that energy or something that kind of keeps propelling you forward, it can be really unmotivating. My mom is that life force. She
Mm.
has so much passion. It's her passion for first creating and her passion for her family and traditions and making something so wonderful that really is our energy. And on top of that, I don't know if she'll appreciate me sharing this, but she just turned 68 next week.
Mhm. Right.
And she is such an inspiration in that she has never stopped cultivating her skills and growing and becoming a better artist. So I wrote the books, but my mom illustrated them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
Okay.
every
Yeah.
single stuffed animal is designed by my mom. She makes all of our prototypes and
Oh,
she
whoa. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and she
Nice.
creates the patterns. We now use a
Yeah.
manufacturer, but she sends the patterns of this is what I want it to look like. This is how many beads I want you to put in it. So I know how heavy it is. And she's the one who has the whole vision behind it. And so it's really fun to work with a creative who is
Yeah, and you have designed so many different bodies like for the
yeah.
product line. Can you also talk about what is the creative process to come up with another character that you build like the entire product line around?
Yeah. It usually starts with, okay, what's our next stuffed animal? It's really hard. My mom's vision is
Mm.
creating a character for each of her 25 grandkids. So
Okay.
at the
Yeah,
beginning, like we have to rein her in a little bit because she just has so many ideas and so much that she
yeah,
wants to share. And
I see.
so we picked our first four and they're up on the shelf behind me. We did unicorn,
Uh,
dinosaur, fox, and a robot. And we had some more in mind, but those are the four that we're like, okay, let's serve these. So usually we pick our animal and
mhm,
then while she designs the stuffed animal, I write
mhm.
the books. And
Ah,
then once I write the books, she illustrates them. And then her illustrations get turned into our fabrics. So all of
oh,
our
whoa.
fabrics
Okay.
are her drawings from the books.
I see. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so then from there, we design our notebooks. We send things off. It takes a little bit to have, it's really hard. I wish my mom had the capacity to make all of our stuff because her
Mm.
attention to detail and her skill in sewing and knowing exactly what she wants, it takes a little bit of a process going back and forth to get our stuffed animals perfect.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll decide the next character. So we started with those four. And then in December, we launched Bear and Llama,
Hmm.
which are our two newest characters. And then we've got a bunch in the pipeline because she wants to just we got to get to 25. So we got to
Yeah.
keep going.
So still a long way to go, sounds like.
I know.
Totally fine, yeah. And because you're also creating not just the character, but also all the like different type of product around the character as well. And I know we recently met in one of the toy trade show. What was some of the big takeaway since that was your first trade show that you also attended as a company?
Yeah, so that was a really cool experience for us. We just got back from Toy Fest a couple weeks ago. And previous to this, we were sure that we wouldn't go the wholesale route because we just didn't know enough if our margins were right for it
Yeah.
and just keeping some of the control. And we've been working on retail and shows and online. And so we just didn't know if do we want to sell this ourselves or do we want someone else to sell it for us? And so
Yeah.
we went to that show a lot to learn and we learned a lot. One of the things for us specifically was packaging. We've
Mm.
never had to develop any kind of packaging for stores.
Yeah.
And like you said, we are a whole bedtime set. We're a
Yeah.
whole bundle. And
Mhm.
so what does that look like selling that in a store? If we sell
Mhm.
the whole bundle, that takes up a lot of shelf space.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How do you package that in a way that actually shows people what it is they're getting
Yeah.
and why it makes sense that it's a price pointed in? Being at that show and just seeing how other people package and learn how other people like what people want in their stores. Because we
Mhm.
have a couple different ways that we can just sell our stuff individually, but our intent is that it comes bundled in some sort of way. And so that was a huge takeaway for us is we really from there got a vision of how we could see this in a store
Mhm.
and what that needs to look like. So right now we're working on the packaging for our products. Another thing that we learned that we didn't really know a lot about was the sales rep world. Like it was very interesting to see how the sales reps fit in when you do wholesale and how they come and take buyers to the different booths. And there were a lot of booths run by sales reps. And just if that's the route you want to go, we looked into what does that look like for us if using a sales rep to go and show your products to people. And so that was something we didn't really know. And so that was good to see and learn about and see how that works. And then the final thing, especially for us, that's really fun is getting to meet like the mom and pops of shops. There's a
Mhm.
lot of
Yeah.
smaller stores there that just have one store and getting to meet them face to face and what their journey is, what they're wanting, what their store is,
Mhm.
and what they're looking for so that we can curate what we do towards what people are looking for on that level. Cause that's a new form of customer for us. That's not direct to the customer. That's what a store wants. And so that was really fun to talk face to face with people that would actually be selling your products and see what they would want.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that valuable lesson. And I think for some of our listeners that have been doing and going and attending different toys and game trade show, I think each trade show have its own kind of personality. You have
Yeah.
different type of people that's attending. The one that you went to, like the Toy Fest, it's definitely more like sales rep group focused. It's
Yes.
very heavy toward that. But there's also other show I have been to, like Astra, that's not as like sales rep focused compared to
Yes.
Toy Fest. So I think each of the show that you attend, you have its own kind of characteristic of different things to look out for. And thank you so much for sharing some of the experience. But I want to go back to the product line a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing that's very unique with your product line, besides the plush and the blanket and all the different product that you have, is also that come with the storybook because you're also trying to teach like values to the product. How do you choose which lesson to incorporate into each of the characters' journey when you're creating the story and the world around each of the characters?
Since I write the books, I have a lot more of the say of what value we're going to teach. And I wouldn't say there's like a specific rhyme or reason to the
Mhm.
ones I've chosen beyond like I look at the lessons I want my kids to learn. I'm raising this blended family of 7 children. And so some of it is okay, let's talk about honesty. Let's talk about accepting differences. So let me show you. Llama is accepting differences. And so I
Mhm.
want my kids to know that like some of your best friends in life aren't going to look like you. They're not going
Mhm.
to come from the same family that yours is that looks like your family. They might be interested in different things. They might talk in a different way, different things like that. And again, they're all bedtime stories, but it's ideas that I want to introduce to our kids. And
Mhm.
then we have Bear, who's eating healthy and living off the land.
Mhm.
We talk to our kids a lot about there's just so much in our food for that. And so it's another way to just like remind kids, hey, the best things to eat come from the earth. Our fruits, our vegetables, all those things are so healthy for us. So he
Mhm.
teaches us about health. Fox is about sharing. Originally, I had said it's about friendship, and the fox in this is keeping the girl up at night. And my sister was like, I'm going to teach my kids that is not being a good friend. If your friend is tired, they need to sleep. So, but it's more about
Mhm.
sharing. And
I
Fox is
see.
just so excited to share all the things that
I
they
see.
love and have. And then Unicorn is imagination and creativity. That is something I think is so important to cultivate in a child. I have my youngest daughter can be lost for hours in her own make believe. And I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I think it's something that's really easy to get lost. And so
Mhm.
cultivating that in kids, where especially when screen are such a majority in their free time now, Getting back
Yeah.
to, hey, let's talk about what it's like to make up your own game and to play more and use your imagination. So that is our unicorn. Dino is our anti-bully. He talks about watching out for your friends and your siblings. I've had a couple kids that have struggled with bullying and I want everyone to know, hey, not just for yourself, look out for each other, stand up for each other and be there. And then the last one I have right now is robots not being a good helper. Like what mom does not need more help around the house? Oh, if we
Yeah.
can start that young, like that desire to be a helper and to see a need and fill a need, then that's a really great lesson to learn. That's what we've done so far. So they're all just lessons that as a mom, I think are important to go to my kids. And so that's where it comes from. And my dad thinks I'm a little bit funny because Bear is about eating healthy and he thinks it's a little ironic. And then I've had Pig is about being clean and having hygiene and a
Yeah.
bedtime routine. And he's like, oh, it's just funny.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I love the way that I pair them. And so it's been really fun.
And the other thing, I think your brand is also unique. I know you also have a special initiative, which is, I think it's called Body Brought. You donate for each of the body that is being sold. You're also donating to organization. Can you talk a little bit more about that initiative that you created and what kind of impact that it has made so far?
Yeah, for sure. You're right. It's a buddy bought equals a buddy donated. We knew from the very beginning, before we even had product to sell, like we came up with our how are we going to give back? That is super important to us. And so we came with the idea that for every big stuffed animal that someone buys, we
Mhm.
donate a little one to a foundation or organization. So we
Mhm.
ended up partnering with Primary Children's Hospital here in Salt Lake and House of Hope. And House of
Mhm.
Hope helps moms who are struggling typically with drug abuse or something else, help them get back on their feet. And a lot of those moms have children that they're also caring for. And that one is, so we reached out, we partnered with them. And then when we made our first donation, we just did the baby buddies. And then when we went back and the second time we said, we can calculate this into an amount because
Mhm.
if there's other things that you need besides these little stuffed animals, we'd love to provide it. And
Mhm.
so a lot of them are interested in our books and our blankets. So we
Okay.
convert it to a dollar amount now and let them select from our products what fit their
Ah,
needs,
I see.
which has been fun to have that flexibility. And then it stopped there, right? Like we go, my husband and I go together. It's a really fun thing we do. We take it to the hospital or we take it to House of Hope and we get hand it off. And then it's hard because they're very thankful, but you don't really get to see then what happens with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it was really cool. We do a lot of local markets and fairs, and we did the Utah State Fair, and my husband was working the booth, and a mom came up with her little kid in the stroller, and she was like, "Hi, buddies. Oh my gosh, like my son got your stuffed animal at the hospital when he was hospitalized, and he
Mhm.
had it with him. It
Mhm.
was a baby dino, and he
Mhm.
still had it." And she's like, "It is his favorite stuffed animal." And to me, that just comes full circle because
Mhm.
that's a huge part of our initiatives. Our
Yeah.
whole line of products was specifically designed to deliver comfort and love, to inspire imagination and play, to instill positive values. And with that, we created this like bedtime bundle. But just to see that one piece of that got through to this
Mhm.
child who needed it most and did
Yeah.
that one core thing of delivering comfort and love to then
Mhm.
become his favorite stuffed animal, just we loved it so much. It was so cool to see someone that actually got it was a benefit of that.
That's definitely very impactful and see how you also make a difference in other kids' lives through the product you created. That's incredible. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to also talk about, I think that's something all of us in the toys and game space, especially as entrepreneur, we struggle on how do we get those messages out there and try to reach to the right audience that would be like the suitable customer. Can you share some of the things that was working and also maybe some of the challenges you face as far as trying to really gain awareness about the brand and the wonderful product line that you and your family has already created so far?
Yeah, so it's really fun to have this huge dream of, wow, I created this something that's really cool and now everyone's going to want it. It's going to fly off the shelves and they're just going to know about it. And it's just taken off, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has that big dream when you start your own company and,
Yeah.
oh, this is just going to be huge. And so for us, a key thing that we've learned is, especially as a family owned business, we're all wearing so many hats.
Yeah.
And we've learned that if you don't have the hats in your family that are key to growing a business, those are things you have to outsource. And so for us, it's marketing. Marketing is honestly the key to selling, right? If people don't know you're there, then the website sits very lonely.
Yes. Yeah.
And so taking that and finding someone not only is good at marketing, but an expensive lesson we've learned is good at marketing in your field. There are some nuances there where not just because what buttons to click for this and that and SEO and Google and Amazon doesn't mean that this marketing company might know your target audience or how to promote a toy versus furniture. And finding someone who has the expertise, but then also has the expertise with the kind of products that you're trying to push. And
Mm.
so that has been very eye-opening. We've learned a lot of lessons along the way. When you're doing manufacturing, a lot of times you get price breaks on higher quantities. So right in the beginning, we were inventory rich with not a huge plan for how to get that inventory back out. And so just at the beginning, allocating your budget in a way that makes sense to first develop your product and then have the money left to do the next step of, okay, we got to get the word out. And how much money do we need to allot to actually marketing our product?
Yeah, that's very important. And I can also resonate to what you just referred to as far as on the marketing side, you really want to work with people within your team that can really understand the industry. And I think that's why when I created Toy Launch initially, I was very
Yeah.
intentional on trying to make sure we are specializing for the toys and game industry instead of 99% of all the marketing company. They don't have any specialties in any kind of
Yeah.
vertical.
They'll take
And
anything.
yeah, they would just take any brand they can find, that's against what I really want to do for the industry. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's one thing that I'm also trying to be
Yeah.
different compared to because there's a lot of marketing company that you can find like on the internet everywhere. Maybe your neighbor in
Well,
next door they don't put the
it's
marketing
true. And it's overwhelming because they come to you. When you're a small business and you're first started, people bombard you. And so you don't even have to go looking. And it's very shiny and it's pretty and they make it look so good. And it's really hard to do the research there and find out, like, okay, can you really do this for me? We just have one marketing guy who fired himself because he was like, I've done everything I know how to do and I just don't know your industry. And
Yeah.
so that was very eye opening for us where it's like, okay, from now on, we make sure that people show us that they know our industry.
For sure, yeah. And I want to ask, what is next for the Haga Buddy as a brand? I know you guys are continue developing new product. Any other plan on the horizon?
Yeah. So, like I said, we've already launched two. This year, we're going to launch two more. We're going to launch Pig, who is about hygiene, bedtime routine, being clean. And we're going to launch Dog, who is about being honest. And
Oh, okay.
so those are our next two, but we have four really in the pipeline. As soon as we can get them done, we get excited to launch them. And so we will keep growing our brand that way,
Mm.
laterally with more and more characters. And then my mom always has visions of creating more products for each character still to just complete this bedtime bundle.
And one final question I like to ask all the guests on the show is if you had to share one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the toys and game industry, what would that be?
I spoke ahead of myself because it really truly is. Be aware of the cost of marketing and really getting your budget dialed in. What you need to first develop your product and grow your product and get your product to you, but then making sure there's that money left over. And there's percentages you could find of if you want to make this much revenue, you need to allocate this much money to marketing. There's different numbers that way to prepare yourself, but truly knowing what it will take once you have your product to get it out to your target audience.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And where is the best place for people to find more about your companies online?
Huggabuddies.com is the best place. You can also follow us on Instagram. We are at Huggabuddies on Instagram. And Huggabuddies is one word. It's HUGGA buddies, but it's all one word.
Mhm.
And right now, those are the two places that we sell and promote ourselves. Oh, and
Okay,
you can also find us on Amazon. We're Huggabuddies on Amazon as well.
of course. Yeah. So I'll make sure we include that in the show note. And for our listeners, thank you again for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We really hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource, tips, and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com, join the conversation, and connect with us on social media using hashtag ToyBusinessUnbox. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off from the Toy Business Unboxed podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.